What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at some new blue Digimon. We've got a couple new Digimon to talk about, and let's start off with the one that was revealed as I record this like 14 minutes ago, although translation from the lovely folks at Ensan Gaming, who apparently, even though a card was only revealed 14 minutes ago, still on the ball. We love those dudes. It is ModokiBetamon. I think that's close enough. And what we've got here is a level 3 Digimon. We've got a free cost to play normally, which is standard. 0 cost to Digivolve, which is standard. And then we've got ourselves 2,000 power, which is kind of low. But then again, it's maybe understandable, given that we've got a little bit of a skill. And when you've got decent skills, we tend to be a little bit lower in terms of power. And what we've got here is a skill which is frankly going to look a little bit familiar. On all turns, your opponent can't gain memory except with tamer effects. Oh, there we go. It's Tumon. We've seen Tumon. Tumon has already come out. We've already seen it. It was a thing in BT3. Incidentally, we also saw it in green with Terriermon. And we saw it in purple with Gazimon. Essentially, we've already had the, well, let's say the later colours giving these. Remember, initially we started off with red, blue and yellow in the initial starter decks. BT1 actually brought us in green, which was, well, very early, but we still got a new colour. And then BT2 brought us in purple and black. And yes, at the time, I was absolutely bullish about the fact that I refused to believe we would actually get 2 new colours in the second set. I think it's fair to say that time has proven me well and truly wrong. Never mind. But the point is, we've got this now. And now for us in English, we actually got Tumon back in Booster 1.0. It was the only one we got. But then in 1.5, we added in Terriermon and we added in Gazimon. And now we've got them for half of the typings. But obviously, we don't want them for half of the typings. We want them for all of the typings. And forgive me for making assumptions here, but I think it is extremely fair to presume that we are going to get these for red and yellow as well. This is exactly the kind of effect that we tend to get for everyone, basically. I mean, take a look at those security Digimon, for argument's sake. The ones that were in BT3 ended up as box toppers, Garurumon as an example. They ended up having 1 in each colour, and this is something we see. For these fairly standard kind of effects, they tend to come round 1 per colour. And you know what? This is exactly as good as it was for cards like Tumon and Terriermon that we have seen popping up in a whole bunch of decks. Now, it doesn't stop tamers, so tamers like Mimi Tachikawa that at the beginning of your turn, if you're not already at free, go to free memory. Tamers, one of the main things they do is gain memory, and they still will. All those tamers absolutely work. But what this essentially ends up being is just a really hard counter to some particular decks. So one that I am particularly fond of coming out of BT4 is Darkdramon. Darkdramon is a deck that I'm really excited about. It is the first non-green deck that I'm really going to start getting into and building and all of that good stuff. And Darkdramon, when you play it, you return up to 5 Digimon cards with D-Brigade in their types from your trash to the top of your deck in any order. And for each card you return this way, gain 2 memory. And then you've got Rush, which is essentially a free cost to play normally, 11,000 power with Rush, which is clearly dumb, broken, good. But the problem with that is that you end up falling into the trap where if your opponent's got a card like this out, you don't gain the memory. You can still put the D-Brigade cards on top of your deck, but you don't get the extra memory. There are a million other little Digimon out there that will gain you the odd memory here or there. The Purple Tsukaimon will the inheritable skill that gains you a memory when it's deleted, or the Purple Garurumon that when one of your other Digimon is deleted, once during your turn obviously, you gain a memory. There are others out there, but there really are a couple different things you're doing here. Firstly, you've got the odd little bits of memory here or there, but then you've got entire decks, and that makes a huge difference. Although we do need to mention that if we look at things like Digisorption, that does not get stopped, because take Ceresmon as an example. Ceresmon's got Digisorption -3, but you're not gaining memory here, you are reducing the cost of Digivolution. But the fact of the matter is, Blue has got this really important skill, and given that we got the first 3 in BT3, I think it is extremely likely that there will be red and yellow versions of basically this exact card coming along in this particular set. What I will say is, and I don't know how much you care about this, but although this is essentially the same card in a different colour, you do get an extra 1000 power on Tumon. But it's the same amount of power as Gazamon and Terriamon, so let's not get overly excited. Tumon is just a little bit weak. Moving on, we also going to have a look at another blue Digimon. We got a level 4 here. We have got Mojyamon, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing that one badly. I apologise. I'm doing my very best, ladies and gentlemen. Mojyamon, I don't quite know. But the point is, we got a level 4 Digimon that looks pretty interesting here. And what we've essentially got is a 5 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 5000 power. Nothing particularly out of the ordinary for a level 4 here. And you've got a skill that reads, on your turn, when your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution sources, this Digimon gains jamming. And jamming is cool. Jamming says you will not be deleted by security Digimon. So essentially it's just a nice way to guarantee that you can just attack and you will be fine. My problem is, when I look at this, I go, well, hang on a second, why would I not play Frigimon? Now, Frigimon here is 1 less to play normally, slightly lower power, but you're not really going to be taking out resting Digimon, and if you've got jamming, your power doesn't matter. But Frigimon always has jamming. There's no if this or if that malarkey, you've just always got jamming. That seems good to me. You could even actually go cheaper and go for the Vmon from BT3 that is a 3 cost to play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve that has jamming, and that would be a cheaper option. And whenever we're looking at these kind of cards, the very first thing I do is I go looking for alternatives. I go, well, that looks kind of fun, but can we do better? And if we're just looking at jamming here, and there is another skill, we'll get there in a moment, but if we're just looking at jamming, I don't know why I'm not playing Frigimon or even Vmon instead, because I don't like the idea that I've got to run my opponent out of Digivolution cards. And sure, we're talking blue here. That is absolutely one of the things that blue does better than other colours. And there are going to be Rookie Rush decks and Megazoo decks that just don't really try and evolve. And there are going to be plenty of games where your opponent, just for whatever reason, has a Digimon out with no Digivolution sources. It's going to happen moderately often. But that doesn't really matter, because there are still going to be times this doesn't work. And I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, that worries me. When we've got other smallish blue Digimon that don't need to jump through hoops, I don't think we're playing this for jamming. But the good news is we have a second skill as well. When you are attacking, choose one of your opponent's Digimon and discard the bottom Digivolution card. Okay. Honestly, that sounds kind of fun. This is a nice little skill, and to be honest with you, it actually gives you something above and beyond jamming. It's a reason to play it over something like Frigimon despite being slightly more expensive, which is kind of cool. However, is it really good and unique enough? And the answer is no. It is the same inheritable skill that we see on the Angemon from BT3. And we've seen it in a bunch of other places, to be fair, as well. Magna Angemon from BT3 as well can do this same kind of thing. And Angemon, again, is cheaper than Mojyamon, or however it's pronounced here. Seriously, someone let me know in the comment section. I'm clearly struggling with this pronunciation. But my point here is that this is, again, not a particularly unique skill. But we are putting them together, and that for me is what makes this Digimon particularly interesting. The jamming is not special, we can do better. The discarding Digivolution cards is not special, we can do better. But having both of them on one Digimon that is more expensive to play normally, but isn't more expensive to Digivolve, that, ladies and gentlemen, I am rather interested about indeed, and I do think that makes it a pretty nice card, so I'm going to go ahead and actually give this one 4 Wossies, and for what it's worth, I'm giving the other one between 4 and 5 Wossies, because I do think it is a particularly good skill that is already seeing play. And it's one of those where even if it doesn't see a lot of play all the time, it is always going to be there as an option, and it's always going to be one that people are playing here and there. I do think this is a pretty cool pair of cards. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossie Plays.